Hey guys, it's Rob here. Today we revisit a location that is quite significant to Showbiz Pizza Place and Chuck E. Cheese history, that being the first Montfort location in Dallas, Texas. It's become even more unique now, as a couple of new big things have been revealed about the location that really hammer in the idea that this location is so iconic and special. Before we begin, I want to thank Concave12 for being the original requester of an update on this location, and to all of these other people for also requesting an update. As usual, I've gathered information from multiple different sources, which I'll be linking in the description. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, as in the next video, we'll be visiting an area that was originally home to a set of bots that now perform somewhere else. I should also clarify real quick that we are only going over the first Montfort location, and not the other locations in Dallas, as they don't really need updates. Anyways, let's get into the history of Showbiz Pizza Place and Chuck E. Cheese at the first Montfort location. The 13125 Montfort Drive location opened on January 26, 1983 as a Showbiz Pizza Place, opening with the classic Rock-afire explosion. An ad from December of 1983 hints at this location potentially having the Santa retrofit for Clunk, as this ad about that retrofit lists Montfort as a location down below. I'm not sure this actually confirms it, though it's certainly likely, especially given the store in question here. On February 9th, 1984, Montfort would be one of 4 locations to debut ShowScan, which basically was an experimental cinematic process that used 70mm film. We get to see a bit of the store interior from a video about ShowScan, giving us a look at a bit of the games and a bit of the rides. There's also a shot of the showroom sign, which we can see here as well. We see more footage of the interior from 1985, including some of the games, including this one of a skee ball using a golf club, which is pretty cool. Some of the rides, the slide from the ball pit area, this shot, which shows off a couple of the counter areas, one of which we get a better look at here, and the animatronics, where we see stage left and center stage here. The boss looks to be in great shape, with no issues I can see here, mechanically. Billy Bob does have some minor ripping in his mouth though, and is also being run off the interactive Billy Bob controller here. Center stage also has an instrument backdrop here with the trees and sign all removed, which is not something I've seen a location have before. You also get a look at their Billy Bob walk around here, being the CEI one. The showroom entrance also has the phrase "World's Greatest Robot Entertainers" on it, which is also unique and can be seen more clearly in another undated photo from the 80s. We also get a look at their exterior at the time, which had the traditional Showbiz Pizza Place logo that was divided into 3 pieces, plus see the red and yellow stripes on the exterior wall here, plus their unique rounded windows, as this part of the building was a former Target Foods. Before we move on, I'd like to say real quick that this location was not the one that received the Magic Stage, and actually is another location, which I'm not quite sure of myself. 1987 footage would show off something that I didn't go over in my previous video on Dallas, that being an interactive FATS, which like Billy Bob would allow control over the character's movements, plus allow you to speak as the character. In this footage, we see it being used during performances as well, which is something I've never seen done for interactive Billy Bob, making this even more unique. As far as we know, this is the only store to have had interactive FATS. Interestingly enough, interactive Billy Bob is also used here. The bots are in great shape still, again with no issues I can see here. The instrument backdrop is also gone by this point, being replaced with the regular one. Smitty's Super Service Station is also still here. We also get to see more of the ball pit here. 1988 footage still shows the bots to be in great shape, though Billy Bob's stage no longer has Smitty's Super Service Station, though it doesn't quite look like the Showbiz Pizza Campground upgrade either, as it's missing some trees, plus the pump is still present. I'm unsure if the backdrop was just removed for some reason here, or if they were actually receiving the campground upgrade, so let's move on. We see by this point that they had received the 1986 remodel, which changed the exterior to the newer Showbiz Pizza logo, painted the walls white, added color checkers, added windows to the showroom walls, and blue and white striped awnings above the counter areas. We know this was an earlier remodel, as instead of beadboard wainscoting towards the bottom of the walls, that part of the wall is simply painted dark blue, so they likely received it in 1987. We also get to see some of the rides, the ball pit area again, some of the games, and the prize counter. In 1989, this location likely received the only CU prototype stage to be installed into a store, so let's go over that. Footage from May of 1990 gives us a look at the CU prototype stage in a store setting, something we previously thought was only ever installed at corporate. Since I've never talked about this stage in detail, let's go over that first. The CU prototype stage was a stage concept that was the original idea for retrofitting the Rock-afire characters into Chuck E. Cheese characters. The stage took place inside a house, similar to how the Rocker and C stages took place outside of one, and all the characters still had their Pizza Time Theater designs, as at this point they hadn't decided to redesign them yet. Duke would become Helen, Mitzi would become Chuck E. Cheese, Peach Bear would have become Jasper, like he did in the final concept, and Fats became Pasquale. Presumably, multiple of the prop characters plus Looney Bird became Munch, as he was a traveling character in this stage concept. Stage right with Werewolf and Earl most likely went unused. The footage shows the bots to be in great shape, with no issues I can see here. This footage also confirms that head tilts were installed onto the characters that didn't have them, though it's unknown exactly how this was accomplished on these bots. This footage also has other parts of the store that's shown off as well, such as a bunch of the games, some of the rides, the wall bit area again, and the prize counter again. We also see here that Montfort had received a game room private dining area by this point, which would be removed soon after in 1991. The next month, in June of 1990, Montfort would remove the prototype CU stage and be the first location to undergo concept unification, which has been confirmed by someone who worked at CEC, plus another detail which I'll point out later. Footage from that same month shows off the stage very well, showing the boss to be in great shape with no issues I can see here. Although largely the same, there's actually a few differences that varied from later 3 stages, so let's go over those. The most major difference is that the building's mask is different, being more similar looking to the building backdrops compared to the final design. Munch's organ front was also a different design, plus the Munch's make-believe band sign was a more pinkish color. Finally, Pizza Game still had Looney Burn's spring, and he wobbled around unlike later stages, which removed the spring. There's other minor differences, such as Jasper having a different set of pants, but those are the major differences. I'll mention real quick that there's footage of the private dining room from October of 1990, showing us that multiple of their parody posters was located in here. 1991 footage shows off the store again, though it's still all the same, minus the removal of the private dining room. The bots are also still in great shape here. 1992 footage shows the same thing, though Helen appears to have a different mask on here. That or it was put on wrong. Around 1993, the store would be one of the first to receive a version of the Operation Thumbchuck remodel, as can be seen in footage from that year. The main difference here came in the art, as they would receive newer decor to replace the older decor, and also replace the blue and white striped awnings with red ones. The showroom area would also receive the green and black booths. Since this is an earlier version of the remodel, I'm unsure if they received anything else at this point, so let's move on. The animatronics still work great here, with the only difference I can see here being Munch's organ front being swapped out with the finalized version. We also get to see the Chuck walk around at this time, being the 90s head in full tux attire. 1995 footage shows that they had received the Optitron by this point, a predecessor to the Skytubes, and gives us a good look at it. We also get a good look at the Chuck E. Cheese photo ride, being the original in full derby attire, which is quite cool to see. The show is still in great shape here, and Chuck now has the second variant of his latex mask on by this point. 1996 footage shows that they had received the Skytubes by this point, and also shows that the store had updated a bit to have the finalized version of the Operation Thumbchuck remodel, with things such as the red and blue booths now being installed inside the showroom. Their video area would also receive an elevated platform and a wall to create another private dining area. The show still seems to be in good shape, though the lackluster programming of live shows make it hard to tell for sure if there's any issues or not. Pasquale had also received a new mask by this point. The walk around here is the same style head, with a red derby and full thumbchuck attire. In August of 1996, this location would receive the only awesome adventure machine to be made, which consisted of a single chuck bot in between two giant screens, all surrounded by all sorts of random objects. It would also be the first time the company attempted to test out the concept of a singular animatronic in their restaurants. We have footage of the stage being installed, something that is rare to have for any location, but especially for this one, which is one of a kind. The footage here shows days 1 and 3 of the installation, with the first day consisting of the removal of everything on the stage, and the third showing the stage installation being much farther along, with pieces of the stage already being put into place. It's also here where we get to see the valve bank of Chuck, who has 22 movements based on the number of valves in the bank. While the installation was occurring, the area was tarped off, with this sign saying "Coming Soon" being placed just outside this blocked off area. By August 21st, the installation was complete, and the awesome adventure machine will debut. Footage from 1997 shows off the stage, which is in good shape here, with no issues I can see. This was honestly a good idea for a stage, having the Chuckbot not only interact with the other characters on screen, but also be able to close his hatch and appear on those same screens, then move back to the center console area. It's a concept that definitely doesn't feel like anything that came before, and feels straight out of a Disney park. The stage unfortunately did have multiple issues that likely prevented it from being installed at any other locations. Not only was this likely an expensive stage to create and install due to all the different parts and two giant screens, but also likely would have been a pain to maintain. It also clearly was a concept the company didn't want to move forward with, as in late 1997, the stage would be removed and destroyed, being replaced with this first ever Studio C stage to be installed into a location. 1998 footage from a show tape, because yes, the location was used for a show tape, shows off the bot, where it looks to be in great shape, with no issues I can see here. We also got to see other aspects of the store, such as the games, rides, including this one of a Helen photo ride which I had no idea existed before this, more of the Skytubes, and some more of their decor, including these 3D sports pieces which I honestly love. We also get to see their interactive console and blue screen here. Finally, we get this undated photo in front of the stage, with the curtains closed, and see their walk around at the time, that being the 90s head and a blue and yellow cap, which looks just like the one the awesome adventure machine Chuck wore, and in full tux attire otherwise. In December of 2001, the location would close and relocate to 13364 Montfort Drive, which we won't be discussing in this video. After the location closed, the building would remain vacant for a while. Interestingly enough, we see that a rounded top was added to the building's exterior at one point, likely from their Operation Thumbchuck remodel for the Thumbchuck exterior. In 2010, it would be reoccupied by the adjacent Target and would be repurposed as a district office. When this happened, the brick design of the building's sides and exterior would be painted over to match the Target. As of December of 2024, the location remains like this. Interestingly enough, the kitty room and showroom are still intact, being used for storage space. As for the bots, let's go over their fates. The three-stage bots would likely be reused for parts somewhere else, as parts of the munch ended up in a private collection. It's unknown what happened to the rest of the bots, though. Awesome Adventure Machine Chuck was destroyed after being removed. The Studio C-Bot was likely relocated to Moreno Valley, California, where it would remain until December of 2022, when it would be destroyed during the 2.0 remodel. In conclusion, Montfort is probably one of the most important locations in the company's history, being tested for multiple different things, such as the first and only location to have the CU prototype stage, the first 3 stage, the first and only Awesome Adventure Machine stage, and the first Studio C stage. Overall, this location is incredibly unique, and was definitely fun to go over again. Thank you guys for watching this video. It really was nice to go over this location again, especially to add in the new info about stuff discovered about this location, and also to clear up something that wasn't true. My next video is going to be going over the history of Showbiz Pizza Place and Chuck E. Cheese in Wichita, Kansas, which used to have a set of Rock-afire bots that now perform in a completely different country now. If you're interested in seeing that, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you're notified when it drops. God bless, and I hope you all have a blessed day.